Hello everyone, it is Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I talk all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. And today I have a new pen day. I'm very, very excited about this because this has been something that I've been waiting for I guess the last few months. This is a commission from Hogtown Pens. They are a Canadian small maker, and they normally take about 8 to 12 weeks for their commissions. Now, for anybody who hasn't ever ordered from a small maker before, they will all have slightly different processes for how they do commissions. But for Hogtown Pens, I do recommend reaching out to Terry on their website on Instagram, and I'll include a link to Hogtown Pens Instagram account down below. But really, the whole process was so easy. Just message Terry, and you can ask Terry as many questions as you'd like regarding the models or what they can do. And then once you've decided on what it is that you'd like for your pen, and if you're happy with the 8 to 12 week turnaround time, then you'll fill out the Google document, which will then confirm your place in line for Hogtown Pens. And then once the pen is ready, then Terry will actually show you the pen once it's finished, and then you can decide whether or not you do want to purchase it. And I like that. I like that Terry does take the time, and most pen makers are like this as well. If you're doing a commission, they give you the final say. If you don't like the finished product, then you can say no and not purchase it. And most pen makers will go on to be able to sell that as well. So if you've ever had any questions about purchasing from small makers, do let me know down in the comments below. All right, so this arrived actually very quickly. Once it was finished, Terry packed it off and it arrived to me basically the next day. And it arrived in a lovely box with a lovely little maple candy. And I've already looked at it, but I'm so excited to show you. Ta-da! This is, oh, look at that. I actually have to pull up the details of this model because now I've completely forgotten. So here we have a resin. It is a Conway Stewart's Opal that I had been looking at for quite some time. And I asked Terry of Hogtown Pens to make this into a Swansea large. Now, Hogtown Pens have multiple models on their website. So they do have a taper model, a Swansea model, a junction model, a Richmond, and an Adelaide. And if you're interested in what those different models look like, I'll include a link to the description, a link in the description down below. But what I love about this Conway Stewart Opal is just, one, the soft beiges and browns, but what's unexpected in here are like the little pinks and purples that dot that, and also the white specks as well. It's just such a beautiful cracked ice resin, and I love it. One of the reasons I also chose Terry of Hogtown Pens to create this pen for me is because Terry does such a fantastic job of finishing the pen. The glossing on it is just fantastic. And then the way that the pen just feels in my hand feels like it's well made. It's so comfortable, and it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. I have no notes, Terry, no notes. Even the way the cap and the threads are just so smooth, and even the threads for the body to the grip section also very smooth. So you can tell that Terry really takes the time to make sure that even the littlest details are perfect. Oh, lovely, lovely. So I'm gonna compare this model to other models other pens in my collection. Then we'll do a quick writing sample. And what I'm going to do in another video is actually do a pen and ink pairing so that we can find the perfect ink for this pen. So here is my Hogtown Pens in the Opal in the Swansea large, but I also have a Swansea large in the Impressionist one, and I love how, one, just these two pens are so comfortable, but two, they're just so beautifully finished. Love them. So that is my other Hogtown Pens pen, which I'll place right over here, and it's gonna roll away. But comparing this pen to other pens in my collection, we've got the Leonardo Momento Zero in Winter Sunrise. And then I'm going to compare this to an Esterbrook Esty, and this is my Once in a Blue Moon. And then we'll compare this to a Sailor, this is actually a Hachimanjia, but this is a Sailor Pro Gear size. And then I'm going to pull out, let me see here, let's pull out a TWSBI Eco so you can get the sizing of that as well. So in terms of the length of the body, it's actually slightly shorter than the Esterbrook Esty and slightly longer than the Momento Zero, and definitely longer than the Pro Gear size, but actually it's almost the same size. Oh no, it's actually a little bit longer than the TWSBI Eco. Interesting. So let's look at all of these uncapped. Now, uncapped, you can see that the Swansea large model is definitely longer than the Momento Zero and the Esterbrook Esty. And then in terms of length compared to the TWSBI, it's longer than the TWSBI Eco as well. Now, these three pens all have Yovo number 6 nibs. The nib on the Hachimanjia is going to be slightly smaller, and then you've got a very small nib on the TWSBI Eco. And then in terms of the grip section, let's compare the three that are normally my most comfortable. So you can see just by a little bit here that the grip section on the Hogtown Pens Swansea Large is a little bit larger than the Momento Zero and the Esty. I'm going to grab my calipers here. So the grip section on the Swansea Large is about 11.57 millimeters, and I'm measuring it at about that point in the grip section. So then comparing that to the Esterbrook Esty, the Esterbrook Esty is at about 11.48. So very similar. It looks, this looks larger, but it can be very similar in width. But then in terms of the width of the body, I'm going to measure this at the widest point. So at the widest point of the body, it is about 14.4 millimeters. And then the widest point of the body of the Momento Zero is about 14.49, so similar as well. And then I think the Esterbrook Esty is going to be slightly narrower. Yeah, just 13.55 millimeters. So really interesting having the calipers actually to measure out those small differences. And this is probably why I find this model so comfortable, is because it is comparable to an Esty and a Leonardo Momento Zero. But one of the things that I do love about the Swansea model is the grip section. I really do like how long it is, but also there aren't too many curvatures in here. There's a little bit of a curvature towards the nib, but not too much. And then where I place my fingers hardly touches the threads of the body here. So very, very comfortable for my hands. And then with the pen as well, you can certainly post it. It does make it a very long pen, and actually it posts pretty securely. So if you like to post your pens, that's definitely a plus. And let me just measure how far down that goes. That goes down pretty deep, actually. So if you were a poster, this one is definitely for you. So then let's go ahead and do a quick writing sample of this pen. And then, like I said, in my next video, I will pick the perfect ink and do another pen and ink pairing video. Okay, before I do the writing test, I'm just going to show here, or I forgot to mention that this pen does come with a standard converter, and you've got your Yovo number 6 nib here. And I chose to have mine as extra fine because, I mean, that's me. And here I am. I have my Hobonichi A5 notebook with the 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I have my pen profile stamp, and this is from Everyday Explorers Co. And I will leave a link to that stamp down in the description below. So I decided I'm going to dip test this with Ferris Wheel Press Oyster Hour. And so the brand we have here is, oh, let's make sure that I actually get ink on the nib. Too excited, too excited. So we have Hogtown Pens, and the model is Swansea large, and the nib is extra fine. And the color, I'm going to write this in small writing, is Conway Stewart Opal. And I am, well, dip testing this with Ferris wheel press oyster hour. Wow. I don't know if that's going to be an exact match. There's going to be so many beautiful inks that match with this, and that's why I can't wait to do the pen and ink pairing. I am so happy with my new pen from Hogtown Pens. I knew that Terry would turn this opal blank into a gorgeous pen. I love the Swansea model. It feels substantial but not heavy in my hand. It's so comfortable. The Yovo number 6 nib may need some tuning, which is easy enough for me to do. I am loving this purchase, which is pen number 2 of 2026. So there we have my newest pen from Hogtown Pens. And if I didn't mention this before, this pen tray, as well as the other pen tray that I showed, is from Fountain Pendulum. And they're just beautiful wooden pen trays. I will leave a link to her Instagram and her website in the description below. All right, I am in love with this, and it was definitely worth the wait. Sometimes I'm the type of person where if I have a commission, I think I'm going to change my mind in about the 8 to 12 weeks, but this one was one that was well worth waiting for, and I'm absolutely in love with it. Terry did a fantastic job. Beautiful. And I loved being able to purchase from a Canadian maker as well. Oh, all right, but that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. The next video I'm going to do with this pen is to find the perfect ink pairing for it. So stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching and have yourselves a great day.